Good evening. Welcome to the Democratic debate for the 5th Congressional District. Kurt Schrader has held the position since 2009, but the boundaries have now changed, and the district now includes parts of Deschutes County. Jamie McLeod-Skinner has a background as an emergency response coordinator, small business owner, and attorney, among other things. First of all, welcome to you both. Thanks for being here. We flipped a coin to see who goes first. Jamie McLeod-Skinner was the winner of the coin flip, so you get 2 minutes for your opening statements. Jamie, we'll begin with you.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to have this conversation with voters. Thanks, KTVZ. Kurt, thanks for being here for this conversation. As mentioned, I am a small business owner, emergency recovery coordinator, and also attorney. I worked in helping cities recover from wildfire, worked in a city leading recovery efforts in a city that lost a third of its homes and businesses to the wildfire. I know what it's like to work on the ground. That was during the recovery from COVID as well. In my personal experience, I remember the early days with my mom sitting down around the kitchen table. She was a single mom and had to make those tough decisions on how to spend limited resources. She worked 3 jobs to put food on our table. And when the rent went up, the money we had for food went down. So I understand how hard people are working right now. It's a lot of families around our state are facing those same challenges. When I graduated from high school in Southern Oregon, I had to pay my own way through college and law school. And so that's why that understanding of with the real struggle to get through and make ends meet is something that makes me passionate about working for Oregonians. What we're facing right now is the rebounding from the COVID economy, facing the climate crisis. And this is very true to Central Oregonians. We're facing our homes being burned down in the wildfire and smoke, and also protecting our democracy. In protecting our democracy, one of the key things is getting big money out of politics, and that's a huge contrast in this race. Since when I was first elected in 2004, I've never taken corporate PAC money. I'm running against someone who, with all due respect, has taken over $8 million in corporate PAC money in his 25 years as a politician, including $650,000 in big pharma money. So all those ads you're seeing, that's actually paid for the profits of the folks who have not seen prescription drug prices go down. He's been voting in their interest, not in ours, and that's why this is a real great opportunity for us to have a change in this newly drawn district. Folks who know him the best in Clackamas County say it's time for a change, and they're supporting me in this race, and look forward to the conversation today.
All right, Jamie McLeod-Skinner, thank you. Kurt Schrader, opening remarks.
Well, thank you, Lee, and thank you, KPTV, for having the debate to get the voters informed. I think it's always extremely important in these elections, especially a primary. I'm a veterinarian. Started my veterinary practice from scratch in Oregon City. Got a small farm in Canby, Oregon. Lived in the district for over 45 years. I know this district well. I'm running because I'm very concerned about the hyperpartisanship and the incivility now in politics. People want someone to represent the district, not an ideology. We need to stop the bickering and get work done like I've done in the 5th Congressional District this past 12 years. I was able to bring the NOAA fleet from Seattle down to the tiny community of Newport when I first got into office. I've gotten the jetties money to be rebuilt in Tillamook Bay. I've been able to get Woodburn Interchange and the Willamette Falls locks in Oregon City and West Lynn, money to get rebuilt, make them safe, make them an economic opportunity for the community, as well as stop the sea lion predation on our iconic salmon and, frankly, save our communities, hopefully, long-term from wildfire. We're closer to Senator Wyden, trying to mitigate those catastrophic effects. I mean, that's the type of person you need in Washington, D.C. Proud of the work I've done, voting for 6 different COVID relief packages, including the American Recovery Plan, making sure the bipartisan infrastructure bill got across the finish line. That could be great things for Highway 97, the Central Oregon drought issues, making sure there's broadband to every farm and ranch out here. And at the end of the day, EV, not a pipe dream, but something could be real for Bend, Sisters, and Redmond. I promise you, I will continue to deliver for this 5th Congressional District when reelected.
All right, Mr. Schrader, thank you very much. We're ready for the first question now. Since redistricting, the 5th District now stretches from part of Deschutes County to a large part of Western Oregon. And here you see it on the map. That leads us to this question. What challenges does that present? And for question number 1, we start with the incumbent, Kurt Schrader.
Well, a lot of challenges and some similarities. When I travel around Bend and Central Oregon, I understand and talking to folks that this is a child care desert. We need to get child care across the finish line. I voted for that in the Build Back Better plan. I think there's an opportunity to build a community where folks can afford to go back to work, for goodness sakes, and universal pre-K. Affordable housing, I hear that all the time throughout Bend. I visited the Crisis Stabilization Center, Bethlehem Inn, went to Covo. They're doing a great job out there, by the way. We need to get affordable housing done. I've worked, and it's not just the homeless. That's a big issue in every community in Congressional District number 5, but it's also folks that are working in the communities can't afford to even live in their communities. That's just wrong. The mental health aspect goes along with that. I'm on the Energy and Commerce Committee. My healthcare subcommittee deals with that. We have an opportunity to change that right now. And I think building out the bipartisan infrastructure bill, when that was in danger of falling apart at the very beginning, my Problem Solvers group got together with the senators and the President of the United States, got that going. And we were the ones that actually made it get across the finish line at the end of the day. That could be huge, huge, huge benefits for our Central Oregon area. The climate change provisions in it alone are pretty amazing. Biggest investment in public transit ever. Biggest investment ever in clean energy transmission. Biggest investment, as I mentioned in the opening, on electric vehicles. So I think there's some great opportunities out there, folks, that if we just willing to step up, take charge, we can make a huge difference. I've done that in Washington, D.C.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Schrader. Jamie McLeod-Skinner, same question to you.
Sure, and just before that, a little bit of correction, because I'm finding the need to do a lot of correction of the record. A couple things in terms of the past couple of years with my opponent's record. He actually initially voted against the American Rescue Plan. He voted against the $2,000 stimulus checks. This is all at the height of COVID. He voted against eviction protections, was the lone Democrat to vote against kicking people out of their homes during the height of COVID. Also voted against the HEROES Act and voted against protecting our veterans and active service members from being harassed by debt collectors during COVID. The inability to step up. Also, he carved up the original Build Back Better plan, the opportunity to invest in both a physical and social infrastructure, address things like child care, as was mentioned. He actually worked to separate those bills and not bring that legislation forward. He was the deciding vote against being able to bring down our prescription drug prices in committee. And so there's a lot of course correction. We've actually got information on our website, jamiefororegon.com, on that. Specifically with regard to this district, you know, regardless of party affiliation, we all want to be able to put a roof over our head, food on our table. We want our families to have access to health care, affordable health care, and then also not have our homes burned down. And those are all things that I'm stepping up on, and I've worked in those areas personally. I've got experience on the ground working in communities that have been damaged by wildfire. In contrast, Mr. Schrader has taken over $3,000 in corporate PAC money from oil and gas and then voted to strip some of the key provisions in the infrastructure bill that would help to protect our climate. He also has taken, again, over $650,000 from Big Pharma and then voted with his corporate donors instead of addressing the needs of Oregonians. A lot of the basic things we need across this district are the same, and we need to work together to get it done.
All right, thank you very much. We're ready for the second question already. We're going back and forth, folks, alternating who goes first. Jamie McLeod-Skinner, you start on question number 2. What can the federal government do or do better to reduce our inflation?
We need to be investing in working families. We need to be helping people get back on their feet in this post-COVID economy. Things like the stimulus check, which Mr. Schrader voted against, would have helped people keep food on their table. When people go to the gas pump, they're seeing higher prices, but we failed to invest in getting people back to work. You know, one of the things we've had has been a problem is the supply chain. Well, the longshoremen who are actually endorsing me in this race are trying to get the supply chain going again. There's a lot of steps that we can be taking, but a big piece of this is investing in our families, our working families, to show them the respect and provide the support that they need to get back to work. There's been barrier in getting people back to work because we have corporate PACs stepping in and paying. It's a pay-to-play operation in D.C. right now. Again, over $8 million in corporate PAC money paid to my opponent, who has 5 homes across the country, doesn't spend much time here in Oregon, and so doesn't see the on-the-ground challenges that we're facing, that working families are facing. I'm supported by working families across the district, not just the 4 county Democratic parties, including his home county, who've endorsed me in this race, but working people, nurses and teachers and the machinists and grocery clerks, folks who are working to get our economy going again. We need to be supporting them with affordable housing, childcare. That's a huge barrier. Again, you know, Mr. Schrader has voted against moving that legislation forward. We need to be providing the resources so our working families can get back to work, and that will kick off our economy again. Things have hit a stagnant level because of the lack of investment in our working families. And so those are steps we need to take. If we'd have passed the entire Build Back Better package, that would have helped to kick off the economy and get things going so that we wouldn't be facing the challenges that we're facing today.
All right, thank you very much. Kurt Schrader, same question to you.
Sure. I'd like to correct the record a little bit, if you don't mind. You know, I actually voted for the Build Back Better plan. There were 2 separate bills. There were never one bill. I voted to make sure that the prescription drug plan that I helped develop and could actually pass the Senate got across the finish line. I've got it in the Build Back Better bill. It was adopted by leadership. It reduces out-of-pocket costs to seniors to just $2,000 a year. I had a town hall, and you know, one of the respondents was, you know, spending $400 a month for life-saving drugs. That's wrong. My bill changes that. It allows Medicare to negotiate drug prices. First time ever, since the beginning of Medicare Part D. It limits the cost of insulin to just $35 a month, and it limits everyday drugs you guys already use, to the price of inflation as far as increases go. That is a huge, huge sea change for what's out there right now. You know, to really get after the inflation factor, you know, we've got to hopefully bring this Ukrainian conflict to an end. I mean, that's causing prices to go up. I polled my folks in our district, you know, and they're willing to incur a little bit of inflation to help protect freedom in the Ukraine. I think the supply chain needs to be fixed. I voted for the Competes Act in the House of Representatives that's being negotiated right now to bring manufacturing back to America, back to Oregon, so we can have these jobs right here in Bend. There's an opportunity, I think, also to do a little smart release of petroleum from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That's why it's there. I support the president in his initiative along those lines. And the infrastructure bill that I passed, that's going to be huge for rebuilding America, giving great jobs. Wages are up, unemployment is down, job opportunities abound. I think we're going to work our way out of this pretty soon.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, as part of this program, we're going to allow the candidates to ask each other a question. And going first with that is Kurt Schrader.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. Well, I guess I'd ask my opponent how she can possibly win the general election when she's running way to the left of me in a district that's gotten more difficult, not less difficult, for a Democrat to win in November. She ran towards the center in her 2 previous failed attempts for elected office here in Oregon. Running closer to the center, she couldn't make it. She got beat badly in the Greg Walden Congressional District 2 race. She came into a distant 3rd in the Secretary of State's race. We want a Democrat to represent this area. I'm the one that's shown over last 7 election cycles that I can actually make that happen. Elect someone who's got great Democrat values, 100% rating with NARAL and Planned Parenthood, 100% rating with the Leadership Council on Civil and Human Rights, 100% rating with Climate Action, 100% rating with Clean Water Action, and frankly, an A rating.
What is your question to your opponent?
Yeah.
I asked her at the very beginning, how can she possibly have a chance of winning that election? But I'll finish, if you don't mind, because I've got my time. I've got 2 minutes.
The clock's not running.
That's for the answer, sir.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
let's let her answer that. She'll ask you a question. You can go back to whatever you'd like and use the part of that 2 minutes.
Jamie.
Sure. Thank you. I'd be happy to answer that question. And first of all, you have gone so far to the right that running to the left of you simply means I'm a Democrat. And whether we've got a long list of endorsements, including your home county of Clackamas, the County Democratic Party there voted to endorse me over you. Folks who know you best say you've lost touch. And Lynn County and Deschutes County and Marion County, in addition to Clackamas, the county Democratic parties have all endorsed me in this, in addition to a wide swath of working people and folks across the political divide. So to the point, this is a very close district. And when you look back to your last race, had you run in a race this close, you would have lost. Had I run in a race this close in 2018, when we had the largest voter swing of any congressional race in the entire country, right here in Central Oregon, when Deschutes County used to be part of the old 2nd, it was a 10-point swing. And so had I run in a race this close, I would have won hands down. I am the only Democrat in 50 years, only Democrat in 50 years to win Deschutes County in a congressional House race. Why? Couple things. One, because it's about working together, bringing people together, and focusing on the basics. How can we put a roof over our head and food on our table, provide health care for our families when they're sick, make sure our houses don't burn down, and provide opportunities for our kids? It's that simple and that basic. And frankly, the Democratic Party in Washington, D.C. is missing a lot of that. Being a rural Democrat and bringing people together is how we're going to get this stuff done. What people don't want is someone who's accountable to corporations. $8 million in your 25 years as a politician, $650,000 from Big Pharma, and then voting against lowering prescription drug prices. You can't make excuses when you were the deciding vote to prevent all prescription drug prices from coming down. And that other bill you mentioned, you didn't even co-sponsor it. And bottom line, where is it? When you go to the store right now,
thank you, ma'am. That's all the time we have for that one. Now, Jamie, you get to ask Mr. Schrader a question. Mr. Schrader, excuse me. Mr. Schrader, if you want to finish up your thoughts on the other, that's part of your 2 minutes. So 2 minutes to answer. Go ahead, Jamie.
Thank you. And it's tied into the comments I was just making. So you've taken $8 million from corporate PACs in your 25 years as a politician. While working Oregonians have struggled to afford prescription drug prices and faced forest fires, you've taken $650,000 from Big Pharma, $300,000 from giant oil and gas companies, and you've taken tens of thousands from the Koch brothers. My question is, where's your red line, and what corporations that are hurting Oregon families will you not take money from?
Well, your figures are widely exaggerated, taken from a left-wing website, and that's a lot of what my opponent's campaign is all about. I'm only beholden to you. I've made a conscious decision since I came to Congress, and even when I was in the state legislature, that I was just going to represent the people, not a party ideology. All the people my opponent referenced, far-left activists, they're a significant part of the Democratic Party. But I don't think they're the mainstream of the Democratic Party, and certainly not the mainstream of the non-affiliated that are 40% of this district, or the few moderate Republicans that are actually left and still constitute 20-some% of this district. So at the end of the day, I'm not beholden to any pharmaceutical company. I've taken them on. I'm one of the lead people to go after them in a big way. When Martin Shkreli jacked the price of Daraprim up 400%, I went after him and stopped that. That guy's in jail. When Mylan tried to increase the EpiPens, I went after them. I've got 2 bills right now to reduce the cost of injectable infusion medications and stop folks from sitting on applications, preventing generics from coming to market. And contrary to what my opponent has said, I'm actually the guy that found a way, after voting for H.R. 3 twice, a way in committee to come up with a new plan, working with a colleague of mine from Southern California. And that plan is, as I just described, it is revolutionary. It saves the federal government over $200 billion and is the first time to limit out-of-pocket costs to seniors to $2,000 a year. I think seniors really want to have that opportunity, and we do get to negotiate the drug prices, as I've indicated before. And I'm a big one for campaign finance reform. Hey, I don't want to fight with one arm tied behind my back when the general election comes around. The Republicans are going to spend all sorts of money. I'm for making sure that Citizens United gets stopped. But until then, I'm going to fight back.
Congressman Schrader, thank you very much. It's time for question number 4. And Jamie McLeod-Skinner, you go first. What can be done at the federal level to alleviate homelessness and the homelessness issue we have?
I'll get to that in just a second. First of all, please don't disrespect working people. So these folks that you're dismissing in course, I'm supported by teachers, by frontline workers, by nurses, by longshoremen, by machinists, people who work with their hands to build this country and get our economy back on track. And as a former union member myself, frankly, it's offensive to have you dismiss folks who are supporting me. So I just want to say that and lay that right there. The other things in terms of corporate money, you've traded over $1 million in stock last year. You don't have a blind trust. You traded stocks right after the infrastructure bill went forward, and you're making money off it. In a sports analogy, it's like someone who's a referee setting the rules, taking money from teams, and also betting on teams. It's laughable that you're talking about not acknowledging your corporate money. Specifically to the question on housing, and this is something that's near and dear to me because keeping a roof over our head is not tied to party affiliation. And I'm actually working on an affordable housing project now here in Oregon to help folks develop affordable home ownership. So the federal government needs to be investing more in providing resources to communities. And we have a mechanism through the Community Block Grant Program that provides targeted funds for affordable housing. It also allows local communities to design and incorporate it into what works in the community. Bend is a great example in doing some really creative things here. The federal government needs to be investing more so those resources are available. As someone who's worked as a city planner, I understand this on the ground. As someone who's worked as a city manager, I understand how we incorporate, and as a council member, how we incorporate these funds and apply them to have an impact on people's lives and provide the housing that people need. It's really important to have someone who understands at the policy level, at the federal level, but also the on-the-ground experience to keep people in their homes. I face this as the work I've done. It's work I want to do for Oregonians.
All right. Thank you very much, Jamie McLeod-Skinner. Kurt Schrader, same question to you, sir.
Well, I have to spend a little time correcting the record again. I'm sorry. But, I also have a lot of support in the community. I alluded to I've got the support of Planned Parenthood. I got the support of the Leadership Council on Civil and Human Rights. I've got the support of Vote Climate Now. I've got the support of the Climate Action Group. I've got the support of the operating engineers. I got the support of the carpenters. I got the support of the firefighters and many, many others. So the idea that only one person has support for the rank and file, I've had over 6,000 individual donations to my campaign since coming to Congress. Hundreds just this cycle alone. The idea that I'm owned by some other group is laughable, to be quite frank. And I focus on people here in this district. I don't dismiss them. I focus on them. That's why I've been reelected, 7 different times. The name of the game here is to make sure that folks have a roof over their head. No sort of drug addiction program is going to help until they get adequate housing. I have visited Bethlehem Inn. I have visited the Crisis Stabilization Center. I visited the Covo site. I mean, I know some of the problems that are out there. I visited these same sites in the Valley. We need to make sure that the Build Back Better affordable housing, $150 billion, gets across the finish line. I voted for that. That would be for preventing evictions, mortgage assistance, Section 8 housing, more vouchers, particularly for our veterans at the end of the day. And mental health needs to be addressed. I've been a leader on that in my Energy and Commerce Committee in Washington, D.C. We passed 56 bills in the last Congress dealing with that. We had a hearing the other day with another 26 bills to deal with the mental health and addiction problems that are out there. That's what needs to be done. I've been working on that and doing that in Congress, why I should be reelected to the 5th Congressional District.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schrader. Closing arguments now. You'll each have a minute, and we begin with Kurt Schrader. 1 minute, sir.
Well, you've heard a lot of lies and misrepresentations of my position here today, and you're going to hear more, I think, unfortunately, over the next month. As I've said, I'm a solid Democrat, 100% rating with Planned Parenthood and NARAL, 100% rating, with Leadership Council on Civil and Human Rights, 100% rating with Clean Water Action and Vote Climate Now. I've got an A rating with the National Education Association. I've got an A rating with Citizens United, who want to end big money in politics. I'm all on board with that and have been since coming to the United States Congress. I'm proud of the work I've done on the COVID relief packages. You vote for and against things in committee. It's the last vote that counts. I voted yes to make sure folks did not get evicted, that the small businesses were able to stay afloat and employ people so that families had the means to stay in their homes at the end of the day. And the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which came along as a standalone bill, not connected to anything else, was led across the finish line by folks like me.
All right.
Thank you.
Congressman Schrader, thank you very much. Jamie McLeod-Skinner, 1 minute.
Well, thank you. And because there was a lot of back and forth, we've actually, on my website, jamieForOregon.com, helped to set the record straight and actually have reference and specific links to actual votes taken so that we don't get the denial of votes that were actually taken. You know, bottom line here is you've got someone who has actually worked in our communities when our homes were burning down. And our home almost burned down last year. Those of us in Oregon have breathed the smoke and fought the fires and helped in wildfire recovery. And, you know, my opponent, who's got 4 homes across the country, mostly just saw the smoke from his home in Maryland. Those of us who are on the ground understand the urgency of this. During the COVID crisis, as city manager, I handed out COVID relief packages. That was the difference between some of those businesses keeping their doors open. I've got support. Some of the endorsements that were referenced, there was no endorsement process. There was strong-armed at the national level and leaned in and provided that support. There wasn't an actual comparison process to allow any kind of competition for those. I'm proud of the support I have across our state and even locally.
All right, thank you, ma'am. That's all the time we have. We want to thank Jamie McLeod-Skinner and also the incumbent Kurt Schrader for coming. 5th Congressional District Democratic candidates. You can find a recording of this debate later tonight, along with more election coverage, of course, on our website, ktvz.com, under Decision 2022. You can also find the Republican debate there. Thank you for watching. We're back at 10 on Fox with the latest news and weather.